Let's build an HVAC ducting system for this kit. Hello and welcome to Dubai Trains. And I have this structure I want to build, and I want to add this ITLA Scale Models ducting system. So first thing I want to do before I build anything is plan it. So you see the building laid out, and also I added the ducting system where I think it would fit nice on the structure. Now, having a closer look at the kit, there are so many intricate details and brackets and connecting pieces and access vents and everything you see here. I did actually need to plan it a little bit better. So I made a sketch and just drew out where I think all the brackets would go in real life to hold the ducts up. Assembly of the kit starts by gluing the different halves of the ducting system together. For that, I just use some wood glue. Try to work accurate, but if some glue oozes out, then that's fine. I'm going to shave everything off with an X-Acto knife anyways. And I found that using X-Acto knife works better than, for example, a file. Because if you file MDF, it gets a bit fuzzy. And here you can just, literally shave it off. Up next are all the other details, the brackets. You can glue these in place inside the carrier sheet, which is great, because then you can handle it and manipulate it a little bit better. Now this could also be a good place to paint the kit, but as you see later on, I'm going to paint it once it's assembled, because it all fits so tight, and it also recommends to do that in the manual. So I'm just going to go the safe route and go that way. So once all the parts are done, it's time to assemble everything, or to create these sub-assemblies. So to put those brackets where you plan them, and you can just slide them onto the ducts themselves. This is very satisfying to do. And now we're just making all the sub pieces, and then once I have all these sub-assemblies, I get the model out just to make sure it all really fits how I planned it and how I designed it. You see here is the corniche that we have to stay under because the corniche sticks out, and here we're actually going around the corner. So I actually needed to chop that piece off a little bit with a chop saw just to get the distances right to go around the corner. Once this initial mock-up is done, it's time to start gluing the little sub-assemblies to create larger sub-assemblies until we have everything fully assembled. Again, I just use some wood glue, and once it's all dried, I take the X-Acto knife again just to clean up the seams if needed. Don't forget all those little intricate parts, the connecting plates to connect the ducting with the structure itself, and their access vents. And then there's these brackets, and here you can really see the quality of the kit. There's a little notch there, and it just fits into the other pieces, and it fits so well that it just stays up just like that. I am going to glue it, of course, but I just wanted to show you that. So once you get the entire assembly done, do a final test fit, and then it's on to paint. And first we're going to paint it with a base coat. Now I have a spray can of stainless steel. You can also use a spray can of galvanized steel. It's a little bit lighter shade, I think, because in the end this is galvanized steel material. But you'll see it doesn't really matter that much. It's just what I had left, and we'll make it work. So the first step is to fade the material a little bit. You see I do this a lot with my details, just to get the shine off there, and to add some variation that you would get in the material due to the manufacturing process and the weathering. Here you can clearly see the difference. It's just very minute. You don't want to overdo this, but definitely adds a layer of depth. And then it's time to build the rust with 3 different pairs of paint colors. You can pause the video if you want to see the exact colors that I use. And again, I do this very gently and sparingly, and you really build up with these 3 different layers. So you start with the more flashy, newer rust yellow, then you go to the darker orangey reddy with burnt umber, burnt sienna, and then lastly, I finish it off very lightly with some very dark rust. And I try to add it where the water would accumulate and where the rust would be. So these horizontal surfaces are ideal to really give it an extra layer of rust. Now do be careful, especially with this yellow-orangey color. If you overuse that, then I think the kit, for me, it loses a bit of realism, and it quickly becomes more a bit of a whimsical, overdone, rusty version. Now, if you enjoy what you're seeing thus far, please press the like button so other people can find this video as well. So once we painted the items, I also want to do a quick dry brushing of where the ducting is going to be on the kit. And I find this an important step because it really marries the 2 different elements, the wall and the ducting system, together. If you don't do this, it just looks like the system is floating on the wall, but you really want to grime it up a bit. And as you see in a bit, it will just add again to the realism and make all the components work together to become one model instead of just a ducting system that's been glued onto the wall. Now for this elaborate one, I do mark it a bit, just really to get it in the right spot, because the wall is also very white. There's a lot of contrast there between the grime and the wall. So if you do mess it up, it's going to be quite obvious. Then a final touch is some rust, and with that I use the pastel chalks. I start with a darker rust and then add a little bit more contrast with an orangey rust. And it's the same story with the paint. The more orange and yellow you go, the more whimsical the model will be. Now it can be fun to add that. It's just personal taste, whatever you want. But I try not to overdo it on my models, as you can easily do that. So here you see the difference of the weathered and rusted wall versus just a plain wall. As we're telling a lot of story with our building, it has been extended by 2 floors over time. I thought it would be nice to just use some parts that I have left over to tell the story that the duct actually started a few floors down below on the side of the building, and then later the inlet of the ducting was moved to the front of the building. Sometimes it's really nice to model what you don't see or what once was. And here is the final result, and I'm really happy with it, because it covers all the goals that I had initially. There's a lot of story to be told with this structure, with the kit, with the details, and with this ducting system. If you want to hear what that story is and if we achieved all the goals, check the video that you see on your screen right now. Thank you guys all for watching. That's it for today. Bye bye.